Everyone. I hope everything is going right here. I am a little confused for now. Just checking out. One second. Popping out the chat. Hello. Hi Avantika. Hi Danish. I know I'm a little late today because there was a problem with the streaming part, right? So last time I started the OBS thing. Yeah, so this time again, I was figuring out something with the OBS while I was struggling a bit because there is a friend who's supposed to come on the stream today. I'm not sure why he's not here yet. You suppose I should, call him or something, but okay, no worries. We will continue on with our stream. Don't get weirded out by the because the boards might be shrinking a bit, but that's because a lot of tabs are open and I'm closing few of them to make room for our stuff better. Okay, so one more quick check. Are you all able to see the screen properly? Are you able to hear me properly? Just give me a quick check on that. This is a chess stream. This is not a checkers stream, Danish. And this is actually a technique we use when you want to go from, let's say, if you want to learn blindfold chess or if you want to improve your board awareness, you use this technique wherein you don't have the pieces on the board but just the squares where the pieces are occupied, and you need to have awareness and play around. I've actually played games with this mode too, and it forces you to be very focused. But this was actually from a different thing. Today we were doing this again in the circle chess masterclass. We were doing this in the beginning. Not for today. Maybe someday we will do this kind of training even here. Very interesting. It really messes up with your head. Takes a lot of energy to do this. Also, give me a quick second. I'll turn my fan on. All right, back here again. Yeah, Vantika knows it. Vantika is from Circle Chess. Anyways, let's go and I mean we have to clearly understand. Oh, let me just change the piece style. Let's get it to normal again. Right. I personally love this one, but it would be a little inappropriate for the stream. But we could definitely go to a little bit more fun piece set. Even I love this one. But okay. We'll stick to this one for now. For educational purposes, we'll stick with the normal one, right? And what we are really going to discuss today is sometimes, or not sometimes actually, a lot of us have misguided goals in the opening. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that there are two kinds of misguiding here, or two kinds of people. One who don't know what to do in the opening. Two who know what to do in the opening. They pretend to do it in the opening, but they get immediately distracted the moment they see something more. Okay, and by something more I mean they get distracted or something occupies their mind and they are not able to pay attention to it. So now I'm going to basically bring that up. What do I mean by that? So all of you who are on the stream, please first of all mark your attendance on the chat like I always say you to do. Put a message on the chat that you are here. If there is anybody else, so that I can ask you more questions, if any. Is there anybody else other than Avantika and Danish? If not, we'll continue. All right, cool. So it's just the two of you, I believe. And then based on that, first question, which I'll have to see if you both are good with it or not already, is what is the goal of the opening? This is a very basic and very simple question, which has a very simple and basic answer. But the execution of this in the game has been lacking in a lot of people. A lot of people lack the execution in the games. develop pieces and king safety. That's what Danish says. Very good. Control of the center is also important. And but yeah, definitely the most important thing is to develop pieces and get your king safe. I believe Avantika also agrees with the same. But now what we are going to notice is how a lot of times we might get distracted from this, right? We might get distracted from this, and to do so I will actually probably take one of your own games, like out of random you're going to take one of your games, and we'll see if you have honestly followed this goal in your game, because you know it so well, it's on the tip of your tongue. So Danish, what is your account again? I think I've played you, so 1 second. So I guess I can search it from my account, and there we go. Wait a second. Danish. Yes, there you are. And again, this is a fresh account, so I'm gonna take a loss. Oh, there are no rapid games other than mine, yes? Okay, then we'll probably look at something else. Just hold on for a second. This is the only game where you did win, which was a nice game. Okay, I mean, I'm not going to take Blitz here because Blitz comes under a different bracket. Okay, I actually kind of have a game with me in my head. I guess I know it well. Is it this one? Yeah, I guess it was Rui Lopez. I told you, Danesh, don't watch. No. By the way, It was not that I was not concentrating. This is something I told in the stream as well. The position was on my head. The position was always in my head. What I missed was the clock. The clock is what I missed, not the position. I can still recreate the game, like from my memory. The position was there in my head. And this is from yesterday's over the board chess. And I had a very interesting position, which is what I'm trying to find back. I'm just wondering if my bishop is in the right square. No, I think it was an Italian, right? Was it Italian? Not 100% sure what it was. Oh, yeah, it was an Italian, and I played this. They played this. I castled, I believe. Yes, I castled. They attacked my knight. It was a rapid game. I pushed my pawn here. If I'm right, the queen was moved here. Bishop to c5 makes more sense in the Italian. From black, yeah, I agree. I developed the knight. And what did they play here? I guess they developed this knight over here. Let me recollect the position again. The practical, yeah, the knight was developed here. And now, already here, that is like, let's say priorities are less, Avantika. Whenever you have conflicting priorities, you're gonna overthink. If you have clear priorities in the position, you will not overthink, and which is exactly the topic of today's stream. In the opening, your only and only priority must be development and nothing else. When you're not able to do that, that is exactly when you get into trouble. And by the way, here, maybe I hear what happened is that I messed up variations, okay? What I did wrong is c3 was not accurate here as much as, let's say, after this, when bishop landed here, I did not have a choice but to play d4, and this was something I have not, I was not very keen on. And now the problem is I don't have anything to do but the knight here. Can anyone immediately point out what is the most practical problem in white's position, which based on the goal of, based on the topic of today's class, which piece is going to take ages to develop here? And can you identify, can we at least identify? I think I should include h3. Exactly, Danish. After the game, right after the game, two things came to my mind that I should have not played c3 immediately. I should have first played d3, bishop e3, or probably, you know, a variation where I delay c3 instead of playing c3 immediately, because I got in trouble. Here, I did not have a choice of developing the bishop. I could not develop it. And I played knight d2. What is the practical problem? Exactly, Danish. Perfect answer. Bishop on c1 cannot develop. Okay. C3, I mean, Danish, I'll also let me be clear here, okay? Correct. C3 to try for d4. I get that. When I say from the goal of openings perspective, I don't mean lines, I don't mean theory, because a lot of us, learning theory is useful. I'm not saying it's not, but what's important is to first develop a very clear understanding of the opening, or let's say openings in general. That is, if I make you play any opening, I should see that with every move you are trying to develop your pieces. You are trying to get your king castle. Like, this is more foundational than knowing lines, is what I mean. C3 might be objectively right, but from, let's say it was just post-game analysis, I felt instead of doing c3 first, I could have done this. And in this case, when this comes here, okay, let's say if they push the pawn, two things, I have bishop e3 in advance, I also have h3, but okay, let's say if I play bishop e3 here, and then even if they push bishop to g4, I have knight d2. Even if they get their queen here, I can get this exact similar position, right? I'm getting a very similar position with c3. The only difference is my bishop is already developed. But now in the game, what happened is that this was not the case. This was not the case. The main line is this, right? Yeah. So this is what happened. Now, also if you notice, if I could move my queen away with tempo, or at least develop my queen, I will be in a better place. And okay, wait, I think knight here was played. So how many of you think queen b3 looks like a good move? And also tell me what's the problem with it. What is good about queen b3? Because you get out of the pin. That's pretty much it, right? That's the good part. Queen b3 gets you out of the pin. But what's the problem? Identify the problem. It's a 10-second thing. You should get it very quickly. It shouldn't take your time. Sometimes when our opponent make a mistake, but in the opening, and I thought as a move, and I started doing more and more how to identify when an opponent does a positional mistake. Avantika, first thing, if it's a positional mistake, very likely it's gonna stick. Positional mistakes in general mean static mistakes, right? They are long-term weaknesses, correct? So if they have made a long-term weakness, it's gonna stay there. You don't need to try very hard to actually, take advantage of it. What matters whenever you're dealing with a positional mistake, whenever your opponent has made a positional mistake, is how patiently you can take advantage of it. How you can first make sure your king is safe, make sure you're not allowing any attacks, because you go after the weak pawn, the weak square, whatever. Since you know that weakness is gonna stay, how you can first maximize other pieces before getting into that. Knight a5 is the problem, exactly. Now, how can you get rid of knight a5 as a problem here? How can you get rid of knight a5 as a problem here? Is there a way to provoke a move that removes knight a5 as a problem, while at the same time having some threat, having some value? So it's like a move that does two things. It is kind of provoking a way where knight a5 is no longer a problem, plus it actually creates a real threat. Two things. b4 If you go b4 here, the bishop goes back. What's your next move? Do you want to play a4 immediately? Do you want to play a4 immediately? Which I think is a nice move. And here they could go pawn push or they could go pawn full as well. In both the cases, I can go here, and this is seemingly a great position, right? Looks like a great position. Or if they go here, I can still take some space, push the bishop back, and now my queen can come here, right? Since this was let's say, since this was a rapid game, I wanted to also play a little tricky, that is just in case if your opponent misses something. Also, I did not know the strength of my opponent, so such moves also let me judge the tactical strength of opponents, right? So I played a4 first. Now in hindsight, I feel I could have played b4 first as well, at least gotten a very sweet space advantage. Well, that is exactly how we get distracted. As I said, right, in the opening we get distracted, right? It would have been lovely to play b4, but I got what I wanted. I played a4 because I wanted them to play a5, right? So this is also something I learned, is that unless you don't create threats, your opponent are not gonna fall for them, right? Even if you are playing somebody weaker and you create no threats, they might not fall for it. There is nothing for them to get wrong. Then how will they go wrong, right? So you need to create some traps at least, so that you're constantly testing and evolving the level of your traps. So now I at least know that they are tactically sound, because so far there has not been any way to know if they are tactically sound. Now I know they are tactically sound, right? That is of course obvious. And I also get rid of the trouble of a4. And then I played queen b3, which immediately immediately it became apparent that, like, my opponent, I could read it from his expression that he felt little bad that he played a5, and I was like, oh, I can't play this. So he realized that the plan of a4 was queen b3, which was exactly my plan. But something very sad is going to come, is going to open up on my face now. Is, I believe, if I'm right, castles was the move played in this position. If I am 100% right, I guess it was castles. Yes, I'm not sure, but this is what I think I played. I played castles here, right? So what happened? By the way, I think very early in the game I had also played h3. I might have played h3, but okay, I'm just gonna insert it here anyways. And then, yeah, I had played h3. After the bishop came to g4, I had played h3 somewhere. Anyways, the position is still the same. And I never want to play, what do you call? I never want to play g4 here. I never want to play g4 here. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This position is not 100% accurate is how I feel. There is one move difference here. There's definitely a tempi difference, because oh wait, yes, my bad. This is the position. As I said, I'm playing this from memory, and I played like 9 games yesterday, so it's not perfect, right? So please don't judge me there. Right, pawn push pawn. Yeah, this is the position. The castles had not happened yet. So when I played queen b3, bishop went back to protect this pawn. So this is what had happened in the game. This h3 and bishop h5 had happened earlier, but okay, it was not really relevant. And I never wanted to play g4 because it was very scary to play g4 here. And I did not want to give simple chances to my opponent. I mean, maybe it works, maybe it does not. But as I said, I want to solve the practical problems of the position, which is my knight being, which is basically that I can't move my knight here. If I move my knight here directly, there is this bishop move. I hope you saw that. Yeah, over the board game is. I hope you see this, right? Because when you don't see these things, this is from yesterday's topic, is where you miss. Why we miss tactics is because we miss checks, captures, and threats, the basics. So while I'm doing all of these openings, like I want to get my pieces developed, I'm making sure I don't mess up the basics. The basics is that I need to develop my pieces. right? But now I actually noticed that maybe I had this here. Maybe I had this here. I did not calculate this. Like I saw one move and then I did not see this. Because now I can believe that, oh no, wait, I think they can still do this. And I don't want this position either. Why would I get into why would I give any kind of position to them, right? Because after this, they might have h5, which is bad. I did not calculate this in the game, but I feel a little sad that I didn't say bishop g4, knight g4 in the game. But okay, so this is why I cannot play knight h2. And if I play rook e1 or I play rook d1, either of these two, I can't pull my knight back either. Why would you open the h file? To create an attack, Danish. From black side, black would be able to create an attack. And I can still not move my knight because the practical problem of f2 is there. And if I get my rook to e2, the practical problem of pin is there. Like I can't move my knight still because the rook will get pinned. And I don't know how to support this pawn without getting my bishop in. So it looks like I'm in a paradox. I can't really do anything because everything that I try to do creates another problem. And this position is exactly where you might fumble, you might try to break open the position, maybe seeing that, okay, this might work, that might work, but you need to be patient. You cannot open the position where, no, that's why knight g4 is bad. That's what I figured out, Danish. Knight g4 is bad because of bishop takes knight. Yeah, so you need to show patience, and here I had to humbly, I think, I'm kind of confident that it was castles. But I had to play and okay, actually not play. Tell me how you're gonna figure this, how you're gonna fix your problems in this position. Come up with a plan for white to develop the pieces. Although I got some sort of relief in this position because my opponent helped me solve my problems fairly tactically. But what would you do here as white? How would you solve your problems? Or do you think now it is time to play g4 because nothing else is working, so we should play g4? We shouldn't stick with this miserable of a position where our dark square bishop has not seen light from 30-40 years. What do you think? You'll play g4 here. Okay. Queen c2 and then you're gonna go b4. Interesting. Queen c2, b4, but b4 needs one more square protection, right? Because there is a pawn loss there. If you go queen c2 and b4, pawn takes and knight takes is possible. So what's your idea with b4? Yeah, b4, bishop a3 is lovely, but it still does not work. At best, you can do queen c2, pawn push, and then bishop to a3, pawn push till here, and then again go b4, which is a very nice way to actually play this position. Maybe, but still you will relinquish this square. Right? You relinquish this square whenever you go with b4, pawn takes, you relinquish this square and you're allowing the square to go away. Like, are you sure about that plan? But it is still a practical plan. I agree with this. But I also want you to honestly think, are you really playing like this in your games? Are you focused on this? Are you focused on this during your games? Or have you seen some games where you forget that you have bad pieces and you feel like I'll play with the other pieces? Or do you really try hard to develop your bad pieces? Is it the first priority in your mind during the opening phase? If it is not, then that's a sign of bad chess, at least for now. I would go as far as to say that is equivalent. Tactically, it's equivalent to hanging forks. Whenever you hang a fork, you feel very bad. Oh, how could have I hung a fork? I should definitely not hang a fork or not hang a piece. Similarly, when you don't think about the opening, development in the opening, like so critically, like you're doing right now, it is equivalent to hanging pieces. Like genuinely, it's equivalent to that. And on a positional level, this is the most fundamental thing you should do in the opening. It is only one thing. You until you've not developed all your pieces, you're not done, you have not finished your opening. And also from a perspective of, I've seen this and I've read this in a lot of books, and I've seen coaches analyzing the game, and I have found a very weird difference between my analysis and theirs. Is my analysis deals with a lot of things, but after the first 10, 15 or 20 moves, never have I ever said that now I have completed development. But then if you go read books of many great authors, they have 2-3 pages of analysis, and at the end of it they say now we have completed development. I was very surprised to see this in a Tal book as well. Like in his game, in Life and Games of Mikhail Tal, I saw this in a recurring fashion, that he keeps mentioning that in this line we will complete development. In this line we have completed development. So it is very strange to see that the most beginner level goal is also the most master level goal, which is developing all your pieces. Similarly, I saw this in the game. I saw this in a tournament game where the top boards were on leeches. So after the tournament, I was reviewing their games to see how they played, and in comparison to how I played. In my openings, I was trying to do all sorts of random things, trying to do this, trying to do that, and their openings were dead simple. E4, E5, getting the knight out, getting the bishop out, getting king safe, and that's it. And then they play the game from there on. And I found a very stark difference between the top boards and the bot, and in the middle order. The middle order wants to win the opening. The top board wants to survive the opening. They want to just get out of the opening, come to the middle game, which is a huge difference compared to how I was thinking and how they were thinking. I wanted to kill in the opening, whereas I could not. Right? So back to the position here. The plan that I applied was, I did not, also I was running, I had already burned 1 or 2 minutes, and I was like, I need to make moves, and I can't move any piece here. Every piece that I move is creating problems. So very embarrassingly, I brought my queen back to d1, and I went back into the pin with only one calculation in my hand, that they too do not have a lot of moves. Like they have a better position, but right now they don't have a clear attack. Then they played rook to d8, and I was like, okay, are they gonna play d5? And I was like, oh, they're gonna open up the position. My position is not well developed. I am not in a good spot. I am not going to play. This game is gone for me. It's how I felt. But here I knew that f2 is a weakness. And my idea, by the way, was to do this, this, and this. And I was proud of this. I was so proud of this, because I would have practically created a way to bring my knight here, which would leave the room to get other knight here. And then I would have then I would get my bishop here. So my ideal plan, if I make some, instead of what my opponent played in the game, this was what I was going to play. And I want to make some more dummy moves for my opponent, maybe knight here, trying to get the knight here. And then I would play this. Okay. And if they get their knight here, I would play this possibly. Is this a tactic? By the way, see, last class is still running in my head. So yeah, this is a tactic. Yeah, is it? Yeah, it is a tactic. So I might not play knight there immediately. Hi Padma Priyan, you seem to be late today. And I still have practical problems. This is so horrible that even now I don't have a way to. And now there's also this tactic of maybe, okay, not a huge one, maybe I have to move my knight away to trade my bishop for this, or I get back, anything probably works. And if they try to attack, okay, I'm just gonna trade my bishop for the knight and get rid of my bishop. Okay, but okay, I did not see that ahead. I did not see that ahead. Alright, I did not see that ahead. What I saw was that at least I have a way to move my knight away, and so far I did not have that. I did not have a way to move my knight away. Fortunately, my opponent played d5 here instead of this, and I became more than happy because I found a way to develop all my pieces in a couple of moves. Can you find the sequence? Can you find the sequence of how you would develop all your pieces? Yes, Avantika, I've seen that many times. I think a lot of my understanding of the game has improved because of those questions that I asked during the master classes. Because I see how much my thinking differs from theirs. E takes d5, knight takes d5, knight e4, queen moves, bishop e3. Perfect, exactly. But do you see how, this is why your focus should be on this, because you will see this instantly. If you apply general principles, you should not open up the position because you are behind development. Opening up the position is going to be bad because they might create an attack. But if you look at it concretely, you get development in. You get development in because your bishop gets to free. And why is this? You don't have bishop takes knight here because there's knight takes queen, knight takes back, queen takes bishop. So there is a simple tactic which I know you all saw, and which is why here I think queen went back, because there are again some more problems if the queen goes on wrong squares. I guess queen went here and I was able to remove all my problems. If I'm right, I played bishop takes knight here, rook takes bishop to e3, and the game from here was went in a very different direction. If I'm not wrong, I don't remember how I won this. I did win it very comfortably because everything just opened up from here, and I managed to get some kind of tactical advantage. I mean, I got some tactic is what I remember. But what is important is that I freed up all my pieces. Okay, I guess this was played, and I might have played pawn takes pawn. Did I play pawn takes pawn? There was a reason I did not take knight takes. I played one of these two. I think I took queen takes pawn itself. Yeah, possibly I played one of these two things. I'm not sure. I don't remember what happened after this. But this is where I remember up to. And even when I was, in every game that I was playing yesterday, my focus was only on development. And that helped me a lot. That helped me a lot. And the only place where I was getting distracted from that was in the 960 format. It was a triathlon conducted by Bangalore Chess Club. So there was this rapid, 3 games of rapid, 3 games of 960, and then 3 games of blitz. But in the first 3 rapid games, my focus was only the development. And then in the 960 section, the first game I actually played very much like this. Like even there, I just cared about developing my pieces. But in the second and the third game, I got a little more fancy with the opportunities that 960 provides. That is, you can create many threats right in the opening because of some weaknesses in the position. I got distracted. Then again in blitz, I went a little bit more aggressive towards development, which is which is again a very interesting thing I found in Blitz, is when you sack, you can sack like basically gambit pawns in the gambit pawns in Blitz for extra development, because then you force your opponent to defend, and defending is much harder with lower time. And I found that to be super useful because I won all of my Blitz games under 15-20 moves with the exact same setup in every game: a knight, a bishop, and a queen, all pointed towards the king. Checkmate, checkmate, checkmate. Every game I just did the same thing, and they were strong opponents, but they were playing moves fast too because it was Blitz, and they were missing the attacking ideas. Because in Blitz you have to make a choice, right? You have to make a choice of giving time now or giving time later, right? And when you attack by giving up one pawn, there you keep putting decisions on them. Of course, if they play very well, you lose because you're down a pawn, but even then you get a chance to, I mean, being down a pawn is not so bad, and since they will need time to convert it in the end game, it puts more pressure on them. So it's a very good strategy in Blitz to be a little bit more aggressive. Rapid, I might not do that because it's scary. But in Blitz, it's definitely possible. Because in this is again a small detract from the topic, but you know, like, this is an idea which I'm not very what do you call I don't do this in Rapid, or pretty much never, but I'd learned it. So I just wanted to try it out. I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying it out, right? So with black, and again, I don't play e4. I've told you in the beginning of the stream, but recently I've started doing it all over again. I guess here I played pawn push, and they castled. I moved my pawn up, and they pushed their pawn. And does anybody know this weird attacking idea? It's like sort of sound and sort of unsound, but it should work in Blitz because it forces your opponent to think. There's this very nice famous idea in a position like this, where they have castled, you have not, and h6 and h3 have been played. Sveshnikov is where you have the Bolsheviski's hole, right? You have that hole on... You have a hole, right? G5, yes. G5, not knight G4. Not knight G4. That's too risky. But G5 is definitely playable, Avantika. Definitely playable. I mean, why not? Okay. Yeah, that would be far more aggressive, aggressive, Padma. Okay, G4, and from here my opponent fumbled in the sense it was not so clear, and you know, you need to make moves, and so you keep making moves. Knight takes pawn. If I'm right, what was played here? Was bishop here played? No, I guess, was it knight? No, pawn push was played, I believe. Yeah, pawn push, knight takes, bishop takes. Oh wait, was it bishop? No. I took knight takes. What am I guess I'm doing something wrong. Was it? I forgot the line. I'm wondering, there was something wrong. I know knight takes, I had calculated this line. If I go back here, knight just comes back. So this does not work. So I had calculated something else. Knight takes. Oh, did I play pawn takes? I think I remember now what I did. I took bishop takes pawn, knight takes pawn, knight, and I think I played pawn takes pawn. is what I think I played. Still not sure. Then knight takes pawn was played possibly, and knight takes. Was this what happened? Still not sure. Something wrong had happened here. I remember something wrong happened. I got my queen in at the right spot. Oh wait, I took pawn takes pawn. Yes, now it is right. I took pawn takes pawn first. They took knight takes knight. I took knight takes knight. They played knight takes knight, and I played bishop queen to. I played queen to h. I played queen to h4. Knight went back. Bishop takes pawn. Rook takes pawn is forced. Queen takes. King goes left. Queen here to threaten a fork. And they played queen here because they thought there's some trouble on this side. And here I got a quick, cute finish. And that's it. This was from the Blitz game. Which is exactly, I mean, this kind of thing works in Blitz, but you see in this thing, we did not finish a development, we did not castle, we did not do a lot of things. So this is not the right way of playing for Rapid, but maybe in Blitz, you can try aggressive things like this. So that is the caveat to what we were learning, okay? In classical, definitely you should, like, you know, your 100% focus should be on development. Like, don't try anything without development. Why should you even do that? Right? You have so much time to make sure all your pieces are good. Why not do it? The goal of the opening is to get to a middle game, a step, nothing else. Not to get a winning advantage, not to get +1, +2, none of that. Get to a middle game with all your pieces out. Okay, so I hope this was a good example. And right today we saw a very beautiful game, which is also again about development. We saw this in Circle Chess, but I'm not going to show it right now. But there are many other games, many other examples that we can actually look at for this. Practically speaking, the best thing, okay, so we've spent a good time today discussing this. So we have just like 10 more minutes left or so. So how would we actually play a game with, you know, with this in mind, right? We should actually play a game with this in mind, and I'm not going to play it. One of you can volunteer to play, and we are going to all see it together. And we'll see if you will actually do what you've learned today. Who wants to volunteer? Please raise up. 2 of you can play together as well. Just put it on the chat if you want. If you are willing to play, just put willing to play. If 2 of you are willing to play, we can pair you both. Let's do it quick, guys. Quick. I want at least one of you who is willing to play. Not me, just anybody. If there's just one, you will play somebody and we'll all cheer for you. Okay, Danish is ready to play. We have got one FIDE 1400-ish player with us. Anybody else? Murugan, welcome. Hi, welcome, Murugan. How are you? We got someone from SPL2 today. Today, I have somebody from all the worlds of chess that I am in. I have one person from BCC, I have one person from SPL, and I have one person from Circle Chess. I've got nobody from Cult. It would have been very nice if I had got somebody from Cult as well. They were supposed to come on the stream, but I guess something came up and they could not join. So Dhruva, Sanket, Anush, Vijay, Vaishnavi, Neil, there are many others, Chirag, these are all part of the Cult. Okay, what is Cult? Cult is basically my chess club from my college. And Padma, you have been from forever, right? You are from my stream now. You are my first person, if I'm not wrong. Right? I think you were the first viewer. Let me know if I'm wrong. Okay, the two people joined late. Wow. I'm also Circle says, okay, what is SPL? That is Shatranj Premier League. That's a online league. All right, guys. Who else? I saw only one person. Okay, Danish. Let's do one thing. You can play somebody. We'll watch you. You want to play Padma? Do you want to play? Oh no, yes sir is what for the question I asked. I think there's nobody else who's willing to play Danish. Avantika, okay, I think it's getting late for Avantika as well. Maybe she might not be able to play. In that case, Danish, we are ready to watch you. Let me open your account. A rapid game, please, Danish. Yeah, you'll have to mute stream, yes. We're gonna watch your game. And you have been coming to the streams from a good time, so I hope to see some good stuff from you. Let's see when your game starts. Hi Sanvi, how are you? Sanvi, by the way, do you want to play a game against Danish? Then I'll ask Danish to not start his game. Oh, but it's also your bedtime. I think it's late. So I'll avoid this. I'll avoid this. Let Danish play somebody online. Yeah, yeah, sure, Sanvi, sir. No worries, no worries. Danish, you haven't started your game yet. Any reason for doing so? Oh, okay, there you go. And Karo Khan is on the board. No, what was it? Karo Khan exchange? Yes. So let's see if Danish follows the rules. Or let's say Danish follows the priority of the opening. So Sanvi, to refresh you up on what we were doing, today we were learning today we were learning the goal of the opening. Sanvi, okay, it was always written Sanvi here, so I called you Sanvi. I'll call you Sanvika. And you put something what is the Japanese in the beginning? I didn't get it, but okay, okay, so you can be on a call. No worries, no worries. Practically speaking, there shouldn't be problems here. But I hope Danish realizes one important thing, that something that went unsaid in today's class is that if you bring all your pieces out, what do you do next? What do you do next, guys? If you follow the same sequence that the most important thing is development, how would it transfer to the middle game? How would it transfer to the middle game? What then becomes the biggest priority in the middle game? If development is the biggest priority in the opening, what is the biggest priority in the middle game then? By the way, guys, what happens in Roblox? I've heard a lot of you mentioning Roblox. Like, what is it exactly? What is Roblox? I've never played Roblox. I mean, it looks like a game to me, but I feel like there's a lot more to it. So here, if you think from a development perspective, I think it's pretty natural to move the queen somewhere so that the knight is free. Understood, Sanvi. So it's like a collection of games. Anyways, back to the topic here. Back to the topic here. Um, okay. So is it like Minecraft? Is Minecraft also? I mean, I don't even know what. Like, I've not played Minecraft either, but I have some idea of Minecraft. Like people creating their worlds and stuff. So, by the way, people, what do you think about exchanging the light square bishop here? And what do you think about queen c2? Because queen c2 invited bishop to g5, and that kind of forces the bishop exchange. So, when you calculate that from here, from this perspective, from queen c2's perspective, do you think queen c2 is a good move? Because it allows the bishop exchange. So when you're looking at queen c2, you do not see it as just a single move. You see it as this position. The real thing that you have to see is that I'm trading my light square bishops. And are you okay with it? By the way, I did not get an answer. I think Murugan answered look for a weakness. Murugan, what I think look for a weakness does is sometimes you go astray on the weakness, because what if your opponent has not created a weakness yet? Which is exactly why in dry position, in positions where there's nothing to do, many people fumble because they don't know what to do. They don't know which pieces to get out, what to develop. Right? So the next phase of development is once you've developed your pieces, you improve. So the biggest priority of the middle game is improvement of pieces. The biggest priority of middle game is to improve pieces. That's it. All you try to get done is improve pieces. Pawn structure to improve. You see, all of these things, like let's say, they help you, right? They help you. But I mean, when we say priority, I mean this is something from management and stuff, right? It's that if everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority, right? If everything is important, what is important? Like how will your brain get focused? So when you're doing positional, when you're learning or when you're improving, you need to choose certain priorities which you're going to put your entire focus on. So in the middle game, if you can only focus on to this one more thing, which I'm going to, that's dedicated to, I think the next class will be dedicated to improving pieces. The next class will be dedicated to improving pieces. But there's second thing which is important in the middle game, and that's looking for your opponent's idea. This is the entirety of middle game for anybody who wants to make progress. You only go beyond this when you have exhausted this, when you lose games for some other reasons. But until like right now, I'm super confident that I can pick any of your games which you have lost, and I can pinpoint exactly that this is the reason you lost, and your reasons of losing would either be a tactical blunder, or it would be ignoring development in the opening, or improving pieces in the middle game, or missing opponent's idea. This will cover at least 90 to 95% of your losses. I'm super confident that I can pick any of your losses and this would be the reason. So why not work on the most important reason? And your chess is gonna look much more smooth, much more nicer if you focus on these things. Your moves will look logical. Did I miss some questions? My FIDE rating is 1367. Do they allow FIDE ratings below 1400? Sir, tell my game. Can you go to my account, please? Are you playing a game? What do you mean? Padma Priyan. Wait a second. I think it's not Padma Priyan. Padma Priyangelo. Yes. 1 second. What happened? Are you playing? What did you mean? Yeah, I went to your account. What do you want me to do? A lot of bullet. This is not good. Oh, tell my game. Okay, you want me to show your game and show why you lost. Is that what you meant? Okay, my bad. Yeah, I will show that. Right now we have a game running, so it will be a little bad to, jump between games. But let me quickly at least judge a little bit from what I could see here. Danish has, like, let's say if in this position, if he moves his knight, either of the knights, right? Before, let's say, either, I mean, if he does not show me a sign of how he's improving his rooks, then that means he is not playing in the right direction because the development has not been completed yet. By the way, here there's a very nice idea of playing b4, get your knight here and go here. I guess this is a way to play here. I'm not 100% sure, but this might be a way to play here. Okay. Now this is aiming at opening up the rook, but did he calculate this is my question. If he did not calculate this, now he creates a weakness for no reason. And which is why, I mean, I would either play this and then play this instead of going directly. That's what, you cannot have a FIDE rating below 1400. That's what I meant. Your lie was inaccurate. You should have lied better. Now you see the past 3 moves have not been that productive. The past 3 moves have not been productive by any means. And it helped black develop a piece. So here, I knew this is the moment where mistakes can happen because this is exactly where we get distracted. We have done half the job, right? Exactly where we get distracted is when we do half the job. And I don't know who said this, but I don't know. I've kind of forgotten it, but it was like grandmasters, not grandmaster something. Developing a rook is a sign of mastery. And I found it funny because I thought everyone develops their rooks until I saw my games. I saw my own games and I realized, no, we don't develop our rooks often. We think कि जहाँ है वहाँ काम कर जाएगा. Wherever it is, it might end up working. We will develop it later when the need comes. If we have connected them, that's more than enough. But all of these are, these are all delusions. We trick ourselves with all of these lies. The truth is your rook, if you have no idea where to place your rook, just put it in front of the queen. One day or the other you will get a tactic if they don't move the queen. And if they move the queen, develop the other rook on that file. If you have no idea where to put it, if you don't know, if there are no open files, you don't know where to put it, just put it in, or just keep putting it in front of the queen and you will get something. But develop your rooks. By the way, Danish is taking a lot of time, probably because she's trying to. By the way, Danish complained. You're not gonna believe this. 2 classes before, Danish complained that he plays very fast. He plays very fast and he wants to slow down. And I think I've kind of identified why he used to play that fast and why he's slowing down now is because he did not really pay that much attention to positional factors like these. And now he has to critically think about something, which is burning time, and I'm okay with that. If he loses this game because of time, that's fine. You should also, this is also important when you're playing games and when you're trying to improve, you should also say what is okay losing with. Because when you do something, right, you will neglect something else. If you try to learn calculating well in every position, looking for tactics in every position, you will spend more time. So you should say I'm okay with losing on time. But first I'll fix this. First I'll fix the problem of playing blindly. Can you just give a synopsis of this stream, Morgan? What happened today's class? Or do you mean, what do you mean? Can you just give me a bit more clarity? Can you give me a synopsis of your question? What do you exactly want? Yeah, and I ask a 50 different questions. And I don't know what you said yeah for. I should learn to ask one question at a time. That's how I can communicate properly with in a chat room. Okay. In summary, um, beginners and people beginners and people who have just started chess learn something called as opening principles, which where they are taught to develop pieces, castle king, and bring their rooks to the center. They do it until they realize sometimes it does not work. And then they learn other things. And some people do not, learn opening principles. First, they start just playing chess, so they have to relearn opening principles. Now, whenever this happens in both the cases, a lot of people get distracted from opening principles to other things. They get distracted from developing pieces for other things. But this is a sign of, let's say, bad play. Whereas when you look at the analysis of grandmasters and top players, the way they analyze their books, in their games, there is always this point, there's always a significant moment in the game where they say we have completed development, we have achieved development with this move, which means that it is a priority of a grandmaster, it's a priority of masters to develop. So you see, the beginner and the grandmaster are both given the same goals, but somewhere in between where we and me and you and a lot of others are sitting, we forget the goal of development and we try to do everything else. We do partial development. I'll be very frank. We are not all stupids. We just don't make random pawn moves. We make partial development. We do development when it's convenient and get distracted the moment we see something else. So what you do is you retrain yourself to develop in every game, to prioritize development, and after the game you analyze and you ask yourself, did I achieve the goal of development in my game? It's not did I win or lose the game. Did I achieve development in this game? That should be your first question in every game. In how many moves did I achieve development? Did I create problems for my opponent to achieve his development? And then slowly, tomorrow's session is probably dedicated to this, is you start continuing this in the middle game, where you ask, how can I improve my pieces? That becomes your biggest priority. The biggest priority becomes, how do I improve my pieces? The worst piece, not just use your 3 good pieces, but bring every piece to a square where it is useful, and be patient. The game is going nowhere. Alright, back to this position here. You see why I said this knight thing was unproductive is because this knight might have done a better job somewhere here. Even now, if I can magically bring my knight here, I would do it. Also, black has managed to get their rooks on very good squares. And again, this is again something I've seen and saw in analysis of players, is that they talk so much about piece placement, like so much. Oh my, the rook got better, the knight got better, the bishop got better. And then you compare to our game, we are giving four lines, 5 lines, 6 lines deep variations. But we have no clue which of our pieces are better or which of our pieces need more improvement. By the way, those lines are also not accurate. I'm not telling that our calculation is very good either. But I'm just saying we are lost. We are lost in a lot of complications. We are lost in a lot of things. We're trying to do a lot, but in reality, we are not doing enough. Now here, what happens if the rook comes here? If bishop has to come back. That seems like the only good idea to defend this pawn, or the rook needs to underdevelop itself. But I still am like, if white manages to create a passed pawn, that is going to put enough pressure to compensate. Here black is gaining a very interesting advantage, which is our pawn weaknesses. The rook comes to c4 and this game is done in a way. But we have exactly, there's this dynamic advantage with the wait, what was that? Oh, are they planning to go rook a knight a4? If they play knight a4, that's a very nice idea. Rook c1 is of course a tactical blunder, so that's not gonna happen. And knight a4 is like very nice placement of the knight. You move knight a4 and you cut down the passed pawn. Very interesting. Very beautifully played. The pawn needs to be pushed. There is no other choice. And you see here, white did get distracted in this game as well. That is a very important psychological thing. Our ability to find our own mistakes is bad. Our ability to find mistakes in others is very good, and that's not a immoral thing. That's how our brains are made. We are we have many blind spots. So we are obviously blind in many ways, and we are also blind to our blindness, which is from Thinking Fast and Slow, a very good psychology book, a beginner psychology book. Which is why we don't see a lot of things. And now you see that distraction has created so many problems. There's also a pawn hanging now. He can exchange rooks and take a pawn as well. But okay, no, exchanging rooks would be bad. Let's see what happens now. Bishop takes pawn, bishop takes, knight takes. I'm not sure about these ideas. But okay. Exact moment where Danish got distracted is, by the way, I showed the first moment. And there is of course even this moment where he thought he has a passed pawn. Somewhere here queen exchanges. But okay, time pressure hai, so I'll just go back here. 97. Knight take, rook takes pawn, and we'll be down a pawn. Yeah, Padma, being very honest, bullet will spoil your chess. If you care about chess improvement, you should let go of bullet. It enforces a very bad trait in you, which is to play without thinking. And you can't play bullet well if you don't play without thinking. Like, the whole point of bullet is to play without thinking, else you'll run out of time. Rook takes pawn, rook takes knight, rook takes pawn, develops, pawn push, pawn push, pawn push, pawn push. And I don't know who is winning. Let me quickly check. Rook takes rook, rook takes rook, rook takes rook, rook takes rook, pawn takes pawn, pawn push, pawn push, pawn push. Okay, yeah, good decision to not take. That was losing. And now we are in a rook end game where black is winning. And now this is the best part. Guess what matters in the end game as well? Piece activity. The number one rule of rook end games is to keep your rook active. And in this position, g4 is not the way to play. As I said, get the rook active. Rook c1. And you go try to hunt their king. You try to do something to them. You try to attack their pawns. And now he's going to do it because he'll see there's nothing better to do. But it's a little late, you know. g4 was not so useful. It won't, Padma, because he'll be down a lot of pawns. Now rook c7, as there's no other option. But this game is lost now, since there are 2 pawns down. What? Okay, good. They are playing with a lot of patience. Very well played by black, by the way. Rook takes pawn. Yeah, this game is done now. By the way, did you notice how a loss is connected to neglecting development? Did you all understand and notice that? I think this is a very good example. And I have many examples from my own games. I have done this same mistake 100 different times. Oh, nice. Now they're gonna activate the king. G6, I guess. If he wants to save every pawn, he'll play G6 then. Okay, it's not, he does not, now he's not in that mind. Alright. Today we extended the stream quite a bit. A lot actually, not a bit, a lot. And I hope none of you are missing your bedtimes to do this. If any of you have sleep schedules, then make sure you sleep on your sleep time. Sleep comes first. I think you have no choice but to take rook takes pawn here. Resigns. Okay. If Danish comes back, we can just show him what we talked about. And so, by the way, this is also something I want to share you. After your game is done, it's not the engine analysis that should matter first. The first and the only question you should ask is, did I complete development? And if not, why? That's it. First question. If the answer to the first question is yes, you completed development, then why did you not develop all your pieces? Sorry, where did you fail to improve your pieces? That is the second question. Okay. Hi Danish. Okay, let's not be self-critical, Danish. It's fine now. What matters is what can we learn from the game, right? The next game is what matters. And if you think from that perspective, I wanted to actually show you few movements. Like queen c2 here is an invite to the bishop trade. So when you were playing queen c2, were you okay with the bishop trade? That's one question you need to ask yourself. If you were not okay with that, then queen c2 is a bad move. Okay? Because you did not check that if this position is fine by you. Also, when you traded queen takes queen, did you feel confident with this doubled pawn as being sort of an advantage? Because doubled pawns also provide extra safety to the king. Whereas all your pieces were aimed at the king, you were looking for an attack. So are you sure you did something right with that as well? That's something you need to ask. Maybe you should have allowed them to take it. Right? Maybe you could have played some other idea to force them to take it. Right? Just wonder what are these things relevant. And when you traded all your pieces, what was your plan? How are you going to improve all your pieces? If you could improve all your pieces, nobody is going to win this. Right? Okay. Next again, b5 here. Here I felt this was the first moment where you got totally distracted from development. It might have been to open your rook, but without calculation, none of these things will work. With this, your rook does not open up and they get a free pawn, what is their opponent's idea? I told you in the middle game there are two questions, right? Improving your pieces and what's your opponent's idea? They want to push further. That is why they've come here. So you stop them from pushing further. And if they attack your pawn, you always have this maneuver. Okay? Back to the game here now. I was not sure about queen b5 as well. Right? I was still not sure about queen b5 because my rooks are still not on good squares. Like, if whenever you trade pieces, if you're trading pieces, you need to ask if the remaining pieces are at least good for you or not. But I think you did this tactically, that if you take there, you're going to win a pawn. I think that was your primary reason, was probably tactical. Your primary reason was tactical, so that kind of makes sense. Bye, Avantika. Good night. Okay, so that's fine, but as I said, this is what I would call a distraction. Why I call this as a distraction is because this is not a priority. You saw a tactic, you played for a tactic. And I've seen this in our game as well. You play tactically, but the thing is, these tricks are useful. As I'm saying, I'm not saying it's not useful, but neglecting the priority is a problem. Here, I think the right plan would have been to understand that now they're going to develop the rooks. And it was not just here. I think it was a move back. The right idea should have been of some sort of, kind of trying to challenge this, this rook here. You have to figure out a way. I can't immediately right now, but you have to find some idea of not giving up this rook, this file. This open file is very important. Right? This is where the rook is going to be more active. Okay, fortunately you got this position, but it's still, here again you should have waited before pushing this pawn, because your pieces are still not on good squares. This rook is bad now because this is blocking. See, you see everything is on dead squares. The bishop is doing dead work. The knight is doing dead work. Am I making sense, Danish? This is exactly like the model game of what I was talking about, that we know what we need to do, but we forget it during our games. It's very easy to get distracted by a lot of other things. In this case, the creating of a passed pawn. And tactically, they found this very nice knight c4 and knight to a4 idea. And that kind of sealed. And then they had this pawn up. And here again, right? Here again, maybe the way to play, I don't know. At this point, this is clearly lost. I will agree with that. This is clearly lost. I don't see a way to make progress in this position. But here I would again discourage g4, because this does nothing in improving your pieces. Whereas rook to c1 is at least a way of improving. Right? Same idea that you did later, but at least one move ahead. Yeah, one move ahead. Even if they do this, maybe the same thing that you tried, but now you get rid of one of your pawn weaknesses. But I know this is still losing, but just a general notion. As I said, I was still losing. Okay, once you do an analysis of piece placement, of piece activity, of development, then you can go check the engine for tactical mistakes, if you made any tactical mistakes. Okay, or you can do tactical mistakes in the beginning and then you can do these things, whichever way you work. But don't get lost in engine lines. Focus on the basics during analysis. Alright, long stream guys. Topic is very important. You can dedicate many sessions on this. Like, you can have multiple sessions, and we will revisit this session anytime one of us makes mistakes like this in the opening. Okay, when anytime we see that during a game somebody neglected development, or during the middle game somebody neglected improvement of pieces, we will revisit this way of playing. Okay, this, we'll pinpoint that mistake. Alright people, I hope this was a very this, at least if not very, somewhat useful session. I believe it was definitely, like, the more I say it to others, the more it becomes solid in my head, I have to really start focusing on it. Teaching is a two-way street, right? Like whatever I tell you, I'm also telling myself. So it helps a lot. So thank you so much, people. Good night for tonight. That made no sense, but good night. See you all tomorrow. Same time. Topic tomorrow is gonna be, either we are gonna do develop your pieces part 2, which is gonna look at few more positions from the opening, or we are gonna go for the open middle game, and where we'll look at more examples on how you need to improve your pieces. So with that, good night for today. Bye bye bye. Ending the stream for now.